Foremost, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Julian Doan. I'm a director here at RIman, and I want to take the time to thank and appreciate every single one of you for hopping on. No one made you jump onto this call. No one held a gun to your head. Either your uplines invited you, a team member, one of your leaders, or maybe you simply saw a flyer online and you said, hey, I want to jump on. And regardless of how you were brought onto this call, it already says a lot about you, right? That you are the type of individual that's hungry for success, thirsty for knowledge, and you're serious about building your business. Now, this 8-week series is going to be a training I'm going to be doing every Sunday that's going to go over different aspects of the business, okay? I know by now we all are believers in the company. We are all believers in the product. We know the rewards and revenue program work. The only difference between reasons why people have a lot of success and not is you. You are the deciding factor, right? You are the variable. And K-pop-ups are great. Home parties are great. Zooms are great because all that adds onto your business. But if you want to multiply your business, it's all about leadership development. Now, how do you develop leaders? Well, first you got to develop yourself, right? And so I titled this 8-week series as the Team Leader Development Program because every single week we're going to dive into a different topic about the business. We're not just going to be sharing with you what to do. We're also going to be sharing with you why we do it so you understand the philosophy, right? Because my background having autism, I can't just simply take action or get behind something by simply knowing what to do. I have to understand why and the reasoning behind it. It has to make sense for me logically for me to get behind it. And the whole purpose of this program as well is, I call it the 2025 director search. We're searching for the next layers of leaders and the next directors that are going to come from this organization, okay? So just to give you a preview of what the next 8 weeks are going to look like, today we're going to be talking about building your business by design, right? Developing that growth mindset. And more importantly, a lot of us have been hearing that saying, change your face, change your finances. And we're going to dive deep into what that actually means, what that entails, and how that supports you in building the business. And more importantly, I'm going to show you a shortcut on how you can develop yourself and your team to hit the position of team leader, director, senior director, national director in record-breaking time, right? So that's what today's training is about. Next week, we're going to talk about passion, the defining difference, right? How it's your attitude, not your aptitude, determines your altitude, right? And this goes out to people that maybe have been in this industry for a long time. You know the scripts, you know how to invite, you know how to present, you know how to close, but maybe you're not where you want to be at, not because you're not doing the right things, is because you're not showing up already as that leader. You're not showing up as the person that you need to be to have that level of success, okay? The week after that, we're going to talk about relationships, right? And how relationships is the glue to the business and how building strong relationships is what keeps the business together. Another name for network marketing is relationship marketing. And I think, ever since 2020, with the rise of technology, we've been able to communicate with more people than ever before all around the world. But even with the ability to communicate more, I feel like people are now connecting less, right? We're putting more emphasis on the marketing and relationship marketing when the focus should be on relationships. Because remember, marketing is what gets people in. Relationships is what keeps people in. Because at the end of the day, people will quit on businesses all day long, but they don't quit on people. They don't quit on friends and family. And so we're going to be going over why relationships are so important, how to build relationships properly, how to work with people that deserve your time, not necessarily need your time. Okay. After that, the topic after that we're going to talk about is how to follow up and follow through. We always hear the saying, right? Follow up, follow up, follow up. Now, if you have experience, guess what? The more experience you have, the easier, instructions, the more simpler the instructions can be, and you'll get it. But to somebody that's never done it before, you tell them follow up. That can mean a lot of things, right? Most people know what to do. They just don't know how to do it. So we're going to share with you that, right? How to follow up and follow through. Because guess what? The fortune's in the follow-up, okay? We're also going to talk about becoming a 10-point leader. What is a well-rounded leader? What are the qualities? What are the attributes? And we're going to deliver that training in such a way that it's going to be like a checklist where you can audit yourself. Hey, this is where I'm showing up. Great, do more of that. This is where I'm not showing up. This is what I can do better. This is how I can develop that, right? So becoming a 10-point leader. Week number 6, probably everybody's favorite topic that I've always gone over this is how to recruit and how to sort leaders, right? How to identify leaders, how to recruit leaders, and how to build leaders. Okay. And the week number 7, we're going to talk about the difference between signing somebody up versus starting people up, right? We're going to train you that as leaders, guess what? Our job is not to be a travel agent. Our job is to be a tour guide. Now, what's the difference? A travel agent has probably never been there, right? They give you the instructions, they tell you what to do, and they say good luck. A tour guide not only has been the way, and can show the way, knows the shortcuts, and can point out all the beautiful scenery and sights along the way. And that's our job as leaders, right? To be that tour guide, to guide them through the steps. Almost like, for those of you who have kids, it's like teaching someone how to ride a bike. You get them on the training wheels, you get them to feel comfortable, right? Once you get them to feel comfortable, then what happens? Then you take off the training wheels and then you ride with them behind them. If they fall, you catch them. And if they fall and you don't catch them, what do you tell them? Hey, everybody falls. Get back up. Don't worry, I got you. And before you know it, they're pedaling, they're riding the bike, and you're just in the distance clapping, cheering them on, right? So it's going to teach you how to manage expectations on your team, how to manage expectations with your leaders, where they understand that, hey, in the beginning of the business, I'm going to do everything for you. I'm going to do 100%. But then intention's for you to watch and learn. And as you get more comfortable, I'll do 80, you do 20. And eventually I do 60, you do 40, right? And it's going to happen all the way until you are self-sufficient and independent in the business, and you can do it all by yourself. And then the last week, the eighth week, we're going to talk about the championship mentality, the different philosophies that you need to have to build the business, right? To be mission driven versus commission driven, to be production driven versus politics driven. Okay. And so by the time this whole 8-week course is over, you're going to understand this business on a professional level, right? The object of this business is to help you become a network marketing professional. As Jim Rohn would say, right? You get paid proportionally to the value you bring to the marketplace. Because guess what? They're not going to pay you professional money for amateur skill. So if you want to make professional money, guess what? You got to develop the professional skill. And so we're here to fill in the gaps. I'm not here to teach you how to do a K-pop-up. You know how to do that. I'm not here to teach you how to do the products. I'm here to share with you the ins and outs in between so you can create a system, so you can create a culture. So you can build a business by design and not default. You can build a business by choice and not chance. Okay. So without further ado, I'm super excited to have you on again. Sunday, 6 p.m. This is primetime K-pop-ups, right? So if you have people in K-pop-ups, I don't want you to have them schedule it around this call. This call is going to be recorded. There's going to be replay available, and it's going to be consistently available. So anytime you have new reps, you want them to watch this training, you found value in it, you're going to be able to share it with them. Okay. So just kind of move forward. Again, my name is Julian Doan. That's my Instagram. If you want to follow me, right? I'm a little insecure, so I need validation. So the more friends I get, the better. I'm just kidding, right? But just to properly introduce myself again, I'm 37 years old. I'm a director here with RIman. I've been with RIman now actively building for the last 10 months. I didn't start till January. I hit team leader my first 45 days, and I hit the position of director my first 5 months, building from scratch, no spillover, right? Developing leaders, and getting a chance to have a lot of success. I've been very, very, very blessed the last 6 months to travel to 6 different countries with my fiance. And being able to give her that experience. She's never traveled outside the country before me. Being able to give her that experience. She's actually a team leader in the business as well, doing very, very well. And I share that with you because that's where I am now. But that's not where I started. You see, I've been in the industry for over 19 years. The last 5 years, I swore I was done with this industry. I didn't want to jump back in because of my past experiences. And, if it wasn't for, number one, the company's great, right? You have the heritage ingredients that separates us apart. I got a chance to see the smart farm, the whole quality control, everything that they do to get the products, the ingredients as great as it is. Number two, the instant efficacy, how well the products work, how easy it is to demonstrate, how fast people see the results is what makes it work, right? Not only that, but the convenience, right? Yes, we have 7 products, right? 7 products, 8 steps, less than 6 minutes, building a ritual to help you have the best skin you ever had, but the convenience from the mask, everything, we have it all done for you. Even to the affordable luxury, right? The price points of the products compared to a lot of these high-end products. And, last but not least, the packaging design, right? That alone was enough for me to get started. But the biggest selling point was seeing Mr. Tim Herr, Mr. Chris Kim, who my 2 mentors who completely changed my life. Every time I partnered up with them, my life has changed, not just in business, not just financially, but who I am as a person, right? The amount of money that, the person I became, the people that I was been able to lead. And so very, very fortunate. Mr. Danny Bay, who's one of my biggest inspirations I've ever had in the industry. I got a chance to see him get promoted at the age of 24 in my first company, being the youngest and fastest. And not only that, but seeing someone that looked like me, right? Because up until that point, I've never seen strong Asian role models, right? And to see someone that can change their life, take care of their family, I said, man, I wanted that. And so that combination alone was worth it for me to get started. But you see, my journey wasn't always like that. My first 5 years in this business, I made only $200 a month. That was my average. I didn't always make $200 a month, but that was my average. And in the companies that I was involved with, there was a monthly auto ship, right? Which we don't have here, right? Imagine if every month there was a monthly order requirement for you to earn commissions. And it was about $180. So you imagine $180, right, is what I had to spend to earn commissions. And $200 was what I was making. So profit $20. My first 5 years, I didn't make any money, right? I didn't have big success. But on my fifth year being in this industry, things started to click, and I made my first $10,000 month. Then I made my first six-figure year. Then I made my multiple six-figure year, right? Then I started doing millions in production, in volume, right? Having teams all across the world. So what was the biggest shift? It wasn't what I had to do because a lot of the things I was doing correctly. And maybe that's some of the frustration some of you are having in the business. You're not where you want to be at, even though you're doing what you're supposed to do. Because it's not just about doing what you're supposed to do, but when you truly understand why you're supposed to do it, there's a level of appreciation, there's a level of ownership that comes with it, and it shifts who you are inside. It calls you forward to be a leader, to be responsible for the people that you're leading. And that shift is what allowed me to start making money. I became the person that I wanted to be in the present versus thinking I needed the results to become that person. Okay. And so that's a little bit of my story. I can go more detail about different things, but you didn't come here to hear about me. It's not about me. It's about you. Okay. So let's talk about it. Okay. When it comes to this business, attitude is everything. You see, in life, we get to choose how we show up. We might not be able to choose our circumstances. Might not be able to choose the hands that we've been dealt, but we get to choose how we play those hands. We get to choose our attitude. We get to choose how we respond in those situations. And as Jim Rohn would say, it's not the events that happen in our life that determines the outcome. Because the same events happen to all of us, right? Jim Rohn says the same wind blows on us all. It's not the blowing of the wind, it's the set of the sail. And what is that set of the sail? It's our attitude. It's our attitude. Our attitude is everything, right? It's not the events that determine our outcome. It's our response to the events that determine our outcome. And what determines our response is our attitude. And as you heard what I said earlier, next week we're going to talk about passion. Passion, right? We say it's our attitude, not our aptitude, determines our altitude. Because think about it. Some people who've been in the business for a long time, they know the scripts. They know all the products A through Z. They know the products better than Angie, right? They know how to do a K pop-up from the back of their hand. They know the comp plan like the back of their hand. And yet their business is not where they want to be at. And yet you have someone get started in the business. Some of you've already seen this. Someone gets started in the business, somebody else's team, right? They don't know all the products. They explain everything wrong. When I got started, I didn't know what nano-liposonal technology was. I said nano-liposuction technology, right? I didn't know what Jeju Island was. I called it Juju Island, right? But none of that mattered. Why? Because my attitude, and you've seen it, right? You might know everything, but you see someone get started saying all the wrong things, not knowing how to explain everything correctly. Thank goodness the products are easy to demonstrate. But what happens simply because they have a positive attitude, they're excited, they're passionate about what they're doing, they believe in what they're doing, and guess what? It attracts people to them. They're no longer chasing, they're attracting. That's why our attitude is so important, because when you have the right attitude, you no longer have to chase for certain things, you start to attract it. So to sum it up, there's two different attitudes that we can have. We can have a winner's attitude and we can have a loser's attitude, right? A winner says, hey, it may be difficult, but it's possible, right? A loser mindset says it may be possible, but it's too difficult. And I want to share with you something powerful. If you're taking notes, I encourage you to write this down. And in fact, if you haven't been taking notes, I encourage you to grab a notepad and pen. And the reason why that is because one thing my mentor taught me early on is it's better to trust a short pencil over a long memory. How many times in our life have we said to ourselves, hey, I'm going to remember that later. And then you forget. Okay. So I'm going to encourage you to write this down. Okay. Because I want to talk to you like leaders. I'm talking to you like you're already a team leader. You're already a director. Because if I speak to you as if you're already that, you embody that. And guess what? You're going to get the results of that. Okay. And so here's what I want you to write down. Most people quit not because it's hard. Most people quit because they thought it would be easy. Let me say that again. Most people quit not because it's hard. Most people quit because they thought it would be easy. And I share that with you because RIman is simple. This business model is simple. The concept is simple, but it's not easy. Think about it. The most valuable things in life are not easy. That's why we value it. Why do we value having a fit body? Because we know how much work and sacrifice and how hard it is to have that. Why do we value strong, healthy relationships? Because we understand the amount of work that goes in to have a healthy relationship, from having the deep conversations, the difficult conversations, right? To be able to be open and vulnerable, sharing how you feel, trusting another person, giving them the power to destroy you, but hoping that they don't, right? That's why it's so valuable, right? Why is wealth, having success in business so valuable? Because the journey there was difficult because of who you became in pursuit of that. That's what creates the value. So I share that with you because you're going to go through challenges in this business. It's a challenge to succeed. Because if it was not, guess what? More people would be successful. But here's the challenge for every one person that's enjoying the fruit from the tree of success, thousands are mystified and perplexed. They think, it's the secret to success is some type of elusive secret. They're examining the roots instead of picking the fruits. Okay, so I share that with you, okay, because this business is simple, but it's a challenge. And that's what makes it worthwhile. It's not the money that you make. It's not the recognition. It's not how big the team you build. Those are all great, but it's the person you become once you have all those things. That's what makes it valuable. Okay, winners see the gain, losers see the pain. Okay, winners see the possibilities, losers see the problems. Winners make it happen, losers let it happen. Okay, which one do you think is going to support you to build your vision? Which one is going to support you in creating a life that you want? Right now, there's a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset keeps you stuck. It doesn't allow you to grow. It's very, very limited. Okay, and here's what I want to share with you about mindset. Okay, there's actually three types of information in the world. The first type of information is the things that you know that you know. Okay. Now, if I ask you, what are the things that you know that you know? Some of you might say, I know how to speak English. I know how to use Zoom, right? I know how to drive a car. You know what you know. And then the second type of knowledge is the things that you know that you don't know. What does that mean? If I ask you, what are some of the things that you know that you don't know? I know that I don't know how to speak Spanish. I know that I don't know how to fly a plane. And most people think those two types of information and knowledge are separate, but it's not. They're very, very similar. And why can I confidently say that they're similar? Because you might not have the answers, but you know what's available. And if you wanted to, you can go out there and find it. The third type of knowledge is the most important knowledge. And it's the things that you don't know that you don't know. And that knowledge only becomes available when you have an open mindset, right? My first meeting with Tim Herr, he said, your mind's like a parachute, only works if it's open. Okay? Because think about it. If you never succeeded in network marketing before, you don't know how to succeed in network marketing. That's why following a system is so important. Being coachable is so important. Now, if you're like, Julian, why do you put on these calls? Again, I'm putting these calls because it's a team leadership development call. The people that want to become team leaders, they're going to see the value. They're going to hop on. I don't have to convince them. But it's also a director leadership search because through these calls, right? Now, if you're taking notes, you're like, Julian, how do you know who to work with? How do you identify leaders? I'll give you the shortcut, right? What leaders look for, how leaders know who to work with, is they look for people that have a strong desire, people that want it more for themselves than you want it for them, right? That's how I know someone's a leader. If I'm working with you and I want it more for you than you want it for you, I know it's going to be an uphill battle. I know it's going to be rough. So I might work with you in a group setting, right? But I'm looking for people that want it more for them than I want it for them. So you look for desire. Number two, you look for coachability. Number three, guess what? Work ethic. Those three things. That's the purpose of this call, to identify who has that desire, because they're going to jump on. You don't need to remind them. They're going to put in their calendars. They're going to take notes. More important, they're going to apply the information, right? Who has that? Who's coachable? Who's going to apply the information? Number three, who has that work ethic? Because again, ladies and gentlemen, the only place success comes before work is in the dictionary. That's it. The only place success comes before work is in the dictionary. We're going to have to put in that word, work, right? And, we're going to have to work hard anyway. So why not work hard on something that's going to bring us there, right? So a fixed mindset keeps us limited. So what does a fixed mindset looks like? It's the mindset is like, I want to avoid making mistakes. Listen, mistakes are part of the game. Mistakes are valuable. Now, if you're coachable, you're following a system, the chances of you making mistakes are a lot less, but you're still going to make mistakes, right? Failing at something doesn't make you a failure. Quitting at something makes you a failure. Okay, so learn from your mistakes, right? A fixed mindset says, I give up when things get difficult. I'm committed unless. right? Things are difficult, or it's a good idea. I want to try it out. Those are fixed mindsets, right? And also, fixed mindset says this is good enough. This is good enough. And I'm going to share with you something that might sound kind of crazy. Those of you that are on this call that are leaders have already reached this point. You will understand where I'm coming from. But you know what the most dangerous amount of income you can make in network marketing is? This is the trap. It's $10,000 a month. Because for most people, they think $10,000 a month in network marketing is a lot of money. And what ends up happening is they get there and they get so comfortable and they say, this is good enough. And they stop building, they stop growing, and they think it's going to sustain. Let me tell you something. If you can make 10 grand a month, right? Making 20 grand is not that far off. Making 30, 40, 50 grand is not that far off. So set yourself high, right? A winner's mindset says, I won't give up. A winner's mind, growth mindset says, I improve with practice. And that's huge. Practice. We're going to talk about this later in a future call, about how to identify, recruit, and develop leaders, right? But one of the things that separate leaders from everybody else is that they understand the importance of practice. They don't practice presenting when they have a guest, right? They get on as many Zooms as they can to learn. Like, you want to know how I learned how to do this presentation in RIman? When I first got started, I didn't know how to do everything, right? Instead of going through the PowerPoint trying to learn it myself, right? I would download Steve Huhn's presentation. I would download Danny Bailey's presentation. I would download Chris Kim's presentation because they post a replay. I would ask him for it. And you know what I do? As I'm driving my car, I would play it on the speaker. I would listen to it. I would practice it. I regurgitate the information. And once I knew the information, right, the same way they presented it, then I put my own twist on it. How often do you practice? You are what you practice. Think about it. As an amateur kickboxer, imagine if the only time I ever practiced kickboxing was when I was in a ring with an opponent in front of me. I wouldn't get that very good, right? The more you sweat in practice, the less you bleed in battle. So how much are you practicing the presentations? How well are you practicing the orientations, the launches? Are you only doing it when you have it? Or are you studying it, perfecting your craft? That's what separates the professionals from amateurs. I mean, I could give you so many examples like Kobe Bryant, who would show up to practice, right? He's practicing his three-point shots way before the game even starts. Okay. How much is your practice? Okay. Winners understand that feedback is valuable, right? Losers look at feedback as criticism. They look at it as judgment. They run away from it. But feedback is valuable because guess what? The ultimate coach is results. Results show you what's working and what's not working. And when you look at feedback as information, it becomes the most empowering thing in the world because it lets you know how you show up. It lets you know what results you're creating, and it gives you the information to say, hey, do I need to do more of this or less of this, right? Also, a growth mindset says mistakes help me learn, which we talked about earlier. Mistakes help you learn. Okay. And then also the growth mindset, they always ask themselves, is this my best work? How can I have done this better? How can I improve? And when you have that mindset, there's no stopping you. There is no stopping a person who's willing to learn, and there's no helping someone that's not willing to learn. Okay. Now, the other thing I want to share with you about is the law of association, right? You want to get around the right people. And that's why getting on as many calls as possible is so important, right? The biggest mistake people make is I'm only going to go on an orientation call when I have people to launch. I'm only going to go on an overview call when I have people, when I have guests. One of my mentors taught me early on, I stuck with this, is more meetings mean more money. More meetings means more money. If you have a guest, you need the meeting. If you don't have a guest, the meeting needs you. Okay, what does that mean? Right? Obviously, if you have brand new people, you need the meeting because you need to launch them. Right? If you have guests, guess what? You need the meeting because you need someone to present for you. But if you don't have guests, the meeting needs you. Right? One, to fill up the numbers, but two, why is that valuable? Because now it's your opportunity to learn. Right? You want to be self-sufficient as fast as possible. Because all great leaders are independent. They become self-sufficient so they don't have to rely on anybody else. If you have a great upline, that's great. You're blessed, right? But the only responsibility your upline has is to bring you into the business. And the faster you learn how to do this and do it on your own, the more money, more success you're going to have because now the result is in your hands and not somebody else's. Okay, so how do you get good at something? You surround yourself with people that are good at that. You get yourself on these trainings, right? As many trainings as you can. Why? Because the more you hear the information, it's like the learning the lyrics to the song, right? You hear enough times, you're going to know it. You're going to be able to repeat it. The only reason why people go, Julian, how did you become such a great presenter? How are you so good at using so many analogies, metaphors, and examples? How are you so good at painting these pictures? Because I've been on so many calls since I've been in this business. I was a great student. I'm still a great student. I'm always learning something new. And that's the mindset you have to have, right? And so let's talk about it. You are the average of the five people you spend the most time with, right? The people we spend time with influence us more than we realize, right? If you look at your closest friends and family, do they uplift you and inspire you, or do they bring you down? And I share that because this is the harsh truth, okay? Sometimes in life, when we want elevation, it's going to require separation, right? Let me say that again. Sometimes when we want elevation, it's going to require separation because we only have so much finite energy, right? You either change your friends, and if you can't change your friends, guess what you do? You change your friends. Because whoever you're around, you're going to become. Notice how many times do you hang out with a new friend group and you start picking up their slang, you start picking up their language, start picking up their habits, right? You hang around five broke people, you're going to be the sixth one, right? You hang around five people that go to the gym, you're going to start going to the gym. You hang around five people that drink all the time, you're going to drink all the time. So choose your associations carefully. You know, there's this crazy experiment. You take a magnet, they take a magnet, and they take a pin needle, and they put the pin needle on the magnet, and they leave it there for 24 hours. You know what ends up happening? When you take the pin needle off, that pin needle has a little bit of magnetism and now can attract objects for a short period of time because they associate themselves for so long. So ask yourself, who am I around? What do they have me reading? What do they have me watching? What do they have me listening to? What do they have me doing? More importantly, who do they have me becoming? And ask yourself, is that okay? Is that in alignment with your vision where you want to go? And the answer is no, then maybe it requires a little bit of separation so you can elevate, so you can come back and support them later. Okay. You want to spend time with people that influence the person that you eventually want to become. You know, it's crazy. When I first started in this business, I told my friends, hey, I'm going to make a lot of money. I'm going to make 10 grand a month. You tell that to people that have never made that before, they're going to tell you that you're crazy. It's impossible. Those things don't work. I remember when I first got started, right, in RIman, because I was doing very well in the fitness industry. I didn't have plans to build RIman like I'm building it right now, right? I was going to do it passively, make some extra income. I honestly wanted to do it because I want to spend time with Chris and Tim. And honestly, I had a little bit of FOMO. And the business just started growing so fast, it actually forced me to build it faster than I wanted. But I remember sitting down talking to Chris, and Chris is like, so what's your goal? Like, what do you want to do here? And I was like, you know what? Like, make an extra $10,000 a month on top of the income I already have would be pretty nice. Like, I'm going to set that target. And you know what he said to me? He looked at me, he goes, Julian, you're so gifted. You're so talented. Why would you settle for 10 grand a month? Right? You used to make 30, $40,000 a month. Why don't you set a bigger goal? And just in that simple conversation, I thought to myself, like, man, like you're right. Why did I set such a small goal? Why did I set a safe bet? Why didn't I set a goal that was higher, that was a risk, that's going to require me to shift, to grow, to expand, to rise to be able to earn that income? And that's the difference between associations. That's the difference between who you surround yourself with, right? And that's why influences is so important. You got to surround yourself with the dreamers, the believers, not the naysayers, because guess what? If you hang around negative people, it's going to rub off on you. Okay. Because negative influences can hinder your progress. Imagine you're so excited, you're jacked, and you hang around somebody negative. Guess what? You could be strong willed for so long, but eventually it's going to break you down. How many times have we ever spent time with somebody and we left? We just felt dirty. We just didn't feel good. We're like, man, like, I don't know. I don't feel good after that. I want to shower. Right. Um, so again, seek out like-minded individuals who share similar ambitions with you. And that's why being part of Team 1% is so great. That's why the group chats are so great, celebrating everybody. We have so many great leaders. That's why you want to hop on the Friday, mentorship calls, right? With all the directors and above, that we have Friday nights, because that's going to call you forward. That's going to push you forward, okay? So when we surround ourselves with positive driven individuals, their energy and their enthusiasm becomes contagious. It rubs off on you. Just the same way negativity rubs off on you, guess what? Positivity runs off on you. And that's why you want to get on these calls to be around the information. Think of it like recharging your phone, right? What happens? If our phone runs out of battery, we're so quick to plug it in and charge it. But when it comes to us running out of battery, how quick do we run to recharge ourselves by surrounding ourselves with the right people, people that expand our vision and expand our mindset, okay? Okay, again, just to hit the nail on the head, Jim Rohn said it, you are the average of the five people you spend the most time with, okay? So let's talk about it, okay? The next step, we talk about this in the orientation call, is you want to have a strong why. There's a difference between short-term goals, long-term goals, and your why. Your why is everything, okay? For your notes, if you don't know why you're here today, you're not going to be here tomorrow, right? One of the biggest sayings is if your why doesn't make you cry, it's not big enough. Your why needs to be bigger than any challenge that can come your way. Because if the challenge is bigger than your why, you're going to quit. But if your why is bigger than the challenges, guess what? You can overcome any how, right? Friedrich Nietzsche actually was the one that said that, famous existential philosopher. He said, those with a strong enough why can endure any how. So what is your why? Your why is a lot bigger than RIman, right? It's your purpose. It's your drive. It shows up in every area of your life. It's your calling. It's your North Star that when you're lost, you look at that and it reminds you why you do what you do, right? So again, my question to you is this: is the challenge bigger than your why? Okay. You got to figure out why you want to achieve success with RIman. It has to be much bigger than making money. You might say, well, what's your why for building RIman? Because I want to make a lot of money. Well, why do you want to make a lot of money? You want to get to the root of it. I want to make a lot of money, so so I can provide for my family. Well, why do you want to provide for your family? Because growing up, my family didn't have a lot. We struggled. Well, why is that important to you? Because I saw my family fight. I don't want to fight with my spouse. I don't want to struggle. I want to be able to provide my family with everything they want. Well, why is that important for you? Well, because when I was a kid, I saw how helpless and hopeless my dad felt. And as a kid, I saw them struggling. I didn't understand, and there was nothing I could do. I remember feeling as a kid, I didn't understand. I just knew it was negative. And so my why is what? To be able to protect and provide, to be useful, to be helpful. See, that's the why. Okay, you see how it's the essence, the experience. Like for me, growing up with autism spectrum disorder, growing up with ADHD, I didn't have a lot of friends. I was not the person picked on teams, right? Nobody would count on me for anything. I wasn't like, no one would ever go to me for anything, right? I felt useless, right? I felt like I had no value. I remember at one point I thought to myself, man, like if I died, the only people that would miss me is my family. Nobody would even care. No one would even know. And so my why was like, man, I want to be a man. I want to be someone that's useful, that someone can turn to, that someone can count on, right? And more importantly, I want to be someone that's respected. Man, I don't care about being liked, but I want to be someone that's respected. Not just respected for, what I've done, not just respected for what I've done for people, right? But respected for who I am and how I live. That's my why. That's what drives me. Okay. So figure out your why. Your why will be intimately tied to this business. It'll show up in everything that you do, right? It's that motivation, whether it has to do with your health, your relationships, your career, or finances, right? You're going to be unstoppable when you can identify a reason to reach those goals and can bring tears to your eyes. Most people say their why is money. It's not money. It's time with their family. It's the freedom to be able to do what they want, when they want, right? How they want. Imagine for some people, it's to make enough money where every day is their birthday, right? Where they don't need a special occasion to get a group of friends together, to do what they want, to enjoy new foods, new experiences, that's an everyday possibility for them. The power of your why is what will power you to overcome any obstacle to achieve what seemingly seems impossible. So I highly encourage you haven't already, take the time to figure out your why. And the easiest way to do that is, you start the base level. Why are you doing this business? And whatever that answer is, you're like, why is that important? And then once you get that answer, why is that important? And once you get that answer, why is that important? Why? Until you get to the very essence of why you do what you do. Okay. And the reason why that's so powerful, if you notice in the orientation, there's three things: short-term goals, long-term goals, and your why. Let me share with you the difference, why we do it, right? We tell you how to do it, right? What's your 3 to 6 months goal? What's your 2 to 5 year goal? What's your why? There's a difference. You see, the purpose of short-term goals is to let you know that what you're doing is working. The purpose of long-term goals is let you know that you're on track with your why. And your why, that's the finish line. That's what drives you. That's what, steers the ship. That's the direction that you're headed in, okay? So again, goals are powerful, don't get me wrong, but here are 3 reasons why your vision is more important than goals, right? Goals enable you to achieve objectives. Think about it like pit stops, okay? Okay, goals are temporary. Goals are individual. Goals are not your destination. They just let you know that it's working, and they let you know that you're on track, right? A vision, right? Your why helps you realize your dreams. It's your destination. Vision is long-term, right? Because people won't buy into your goals, but they're going to buy into your visions, right? And goals will help you realize your vision. Everything starts with vision, right? Can you see it before it happens? Because if you can hold it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand, right? One of my favorite stories is the story of Walt Disney. And, Walt Disney, when he created Disney World, right, he had this idea for the Epcot Center, that giant golf ball looking thing. And some of you already know Walt Disney's story, right? Who's fired from his newspaper. They said he lacked imagination, if you can imagine that, right? And he wanted to create the Epcot Center as a hub, as a place for Imagineers, creatives, people can go, and it's a place of hope for them that things are possible. And before Disney World was finished, before the Epcot Center was finished, unfortunately, Walt Disney died. But on the ribbon cutting for the Epcot Center, Roy Disney, his son, was there. And his son was there. And, one of his reporters went up to him and goes, "Man, I know this was your dad's vision, your dad's dream. Too bad he's not here to see it today." And Roy Disney said something powerful. He said, "My dad did see it, and that's why you're able to see it today." And that is the power of vision, to start with the end in mind. What do you want your life to look like, right? To be able to envision, what do you want your life to look like? And also envision like it's already happening, right? How does it make you feel, right? Not only how does it make you feel to accomplish those things, right? But even taking a step further, how has the lives of the people around you been impacted by you accomplishing your vision? You see, it's a lot bigger than us, right? A lot of times when we think of goals, sometimes people have this story, this belief that they made up, through the old superstitions and fairy tales that our parents told us, right? The old sayings. Imagine growing up, right? Money's the root of all evil. Money is dirty. All rich people are going to hell, right? These are the things that we were brainwashed with, right? And, we believed it. But I share that with you because you got to shape your vision. A lot of times we've been taught that going after our goals and dreams is selfish. But I'm here to share with you, it's selfish of you not to go after your goals and dreams. Because think about it, for you to become a national director, that's 4 directors. That's 3 team leaders per director. That's 12 team leaders at the bare minimum. How many senior managers is that? How many managers is that? Think about all the people whose lives have been impacted and changed by you becoming a national director, both financially, right, through the business, but also through the products. It's selfish of you not to become successful because all those people miss out, right? We've all had our lives touched by a song. We've all had our lives touched by a movie. We've all had our lives touched, reading a book. But what if that author, that director, that composer, that artist didn't go after their dream? You wouldn't have been impacted by it today. And I share that with you because, again, it's selfish of you not to go after what you want. It's selfish of you not to make your goals and dreams come true because you have no idea who's watching you. You have no idea who's going to be inspired by your journey. And you have no idea whose lives going to be changed by you making it happen. Every decision you make is a ripple effect. It's like a drop of a pebble in a puddle. The ripple effect will, extend far beyond you. Imagine having people in your team. Imagine going to a convention 5 years from now. And a director, if someone comes up to you, "You changed my life." And, they're so grateful for you through the stories that you share, through your testimonials, your trainings on stage, your presentations, through watching on YouTube. And you didn't even know they were in your team. That's how big your team got. That's how big the ripple effect can get, right? And, it's powerful. So again, I share with you, vision's important. And more important, it's important for you to go out there and make it happen. Not just for you, but for the people around you. Because as you make it happen, you're giving other people permission to make it happen. You're letting them know that it's possible. Imagine it's almost like everybody waiting around the pool, waiting for someone to jump in first. That's going to be you for so many people in your life. That by you having the courage to take the risk and jumping in, it's going to show other people to jump in and enjoy the water. Okay. So vision starts with intention. Everything starts with intention, right? And so where do you intentionally start? Well, number one, you want to intentionally create your story, right? Storytelling is a big component of our business. It's the most powerful, important tool in your business. So you want to be a great storyteller. So with that in mind, what story should you create? Okay. Now, if you've been in this business for a while, it's okay. Imagine creating a jumpstart, restarting brand new, right? Or create this with your team as a leader, right? Number one, what's your first exposure story? What was that like? And whether it's good or bad, that's a lesson. That's a great story to tell because it's either a story that you can tell to use as an example for someone to follow, or it can be a warning story to share with somebody so they don't make the same mistake as you. Either way, it's a powerful story. So what's your first exposure story? My first exposure story, I had no idea what I was coming to take a look at. Chris Kim, national director, my best friend, my hung, my older brother, my mentor. All he did was call me up because, "Julian, I need you to meet with me and Tim." And I said, "Cool, at his house?" He goes, "No, I need you to meet me at JW Marriott in Irvine." I was like, "Why are we going to JW Marriott in Irvine?" He goes, "Just trust me and come." I just got done teaching a fitness class. I showed up in a tank top, in joggers, my chains, my jewelry, right? All my tattoos showing, looking like a degenerate, right? Imagine I show up and this is my first experience, my first exposure. I show up like, where am I? And I see hundreds of Koreans dressed up from head to tail, like they're going to a gala. They have name tags. I'm like, am I at a network marketing convention? I'm so confused. I park my car. I'm like, hey, Chris, I just got here. He comes out to greet me. I'm like, Chris, where am I? He goes, oh, don't worry about it. Just come here. I want to introduce you to some old friends. And I came in, I saw Danny, I saw Betty, and I was just like, wow. Right. And that was my first exposure. I wasn't dressed for success. He didn't prepare me, right? I just trusted him. I showed up. But even with that being said, when I saw the company, I saw everything that it was happening everywhere it was going. I saw the leadership that was there from Karen Kang, right? Her story, Steve Ewan. I'm like, wow, there's so many people having success here. Like, this is incredible. And the company's still brand new. That was my first exposure. I said to myself, wow, if they can make it happen, I can make it happen here too. Right. So your first exposure story is powerful. It could be an example. It could be a warning. Each one is in your favor, right? Your first promotion story, right? How long did it take for you to go manager? How fast did it take for you to go manager? Right. And again, if you did it fast, great. You can share that with somebody. Hey, our first step is to get you to manager. Manager is the most important position, right? It took me, X amount of time to do it. This is how I did it. That becomes an example. Now, if it took you a little bit longer, let's say it took you a month, 2 months, 3 months, right? You can share with them like, hey, the first position is most important, right? It's manager. We got to get you there. But let me share with you something. It took me 3 months to hit manager, and I don't want it to take. I don't want it to have you take the same amount of time. If I can go back in time, this is what I would have done differently to get it done faster. And I know every single person on this call, whether you're a manager, senior manager, team leader, director, senior director, whatever it is, every single one of you would say, knowing what I know now, if I can go back in time, I could have made it happen faster. And that's a powerful story. Okay. The next story that you want to get good at telling is your face transformation. One of the biggest regrets that I have, and remember, see, it's all a testimonial. It's either an example or warning. The biggest regret I have with RIman is I didn't take a before picture when I first got started. I was so excited about using the products. I didn't even think about taking a before picture, right? And I just started using the product. So I have nothing to go base off of. And that's why in my team, I emphasize so much on taking before and after pictures. And guess what? My team is really good at taking before and after pictures. Why? Because I warned them. When I first got started, I didn't take mine. And your before and after picture is your greatest tool in building this business because that's your billboard. So you see how the power of telling stories, right? The next story that you want to get good at is coming out of convention. Some of you haven't gone to convention yet, okay? And that's okay. We have one coming up in March in Las Vegas. It's going to be a lot of fun. Many of you are going to be walking the stage as a team leader on stage in front of thousands of people. Some of you are going to walk the stage as directors, right? It's going to be a lot of fun, right? But coming out, for those of you that came out of convention, let me share with you something. You have a unique moment in time from now to next convention to create such a powerful story, right? A success story of the work that you did, what you learned, the things that you overcame, right? And the person that you became. Why is that powerful? Because you're going to have people come into the next convention with you. And when that convention's over, you're going to tell them the story. Hey, I was at the last convention. I only came in as a senior manager. It's my first convention. I wasn't fully sold out yet. I wasn't serious yet. I know I believed in the products. I know I believed in the company, but I didn't fully believe in myself. I didn't believe that I can do it. But through that convention, I heard this testimonial, right? I saw, Miss Susan Manuela's testimonial. I saw Brianna Michael's testimonial, and I was so fired up. I was so excited. I said, if they can do it, I can do it. And something awoke in me. And when I got out of that convention, I set up K pop-ups. I contacted everybody I knew. I focused on getting my entire team to manager. And that's why at this convention, I'm now a senior director. I'm now a national director, right? That's a powerful story. Because guess what? Your story becomes a blueprint for everybody else to build their business, okay? So that's why that's so powerful. So, right? So intentionally create that. Intentionally create your business, okay? Let me share with you something. Now, I'm going to break this down a little bit later, but I'm going to give you the cheat code. Okay. The cheat code to national director is 120 managers. All you need is 120 managers to national director. Now you might try to do the numbers right now. It might not make sense, but I'll make it make sense towards the end. Okay. But 120 managers to national director. Let me share with you something. The hardest way to become a national director is to focus on becoming a national director. Do you want to know why? Because you're only focused on you. It's only about you. And when you do things only for yourself, that's who you're going to get left with, right? Let me tell you something. As much as your team may love you, as much as your team may push for you, your team cares more about their own promotion more than yours. They'll only care about your promotion if it helps with their promotion. Does that make sense? So the easiest way to become a national director is focusing on getting your team to manager, the first earned rank. Why? Because once somebody becomes a manager, they can show somebody else become a manager. And if you copy and paste that enough times, guess what? You're going to become a national director. So focus on the new people. That's the way to do it. That's why I set up this boot camp, right? So all the new people could get funneled in the system, learn how this business works, the ins and outs, and the ones that want it, the ones with desire, the ones with the work ethic, the ones that are coachable, they're going to identify themselves. They're going to rise up because guess what? Because they want it more for them than I want it for them. They're going to reach out to me. What do I need to do next? When can we do next K-pop up? Those of you on this call that are serious, you already know it. You feel it inside. You're fired up. You have that burning desire that once this call is done, you're going to reach up to your upline team leader, director. You're going to set up a game plan and let them know, hey, I'm all in. What do I need to do, right? You're going to look at your entire team. Who's a manager? Who's not manager? And focus on getting them there, okay? So focus on the new people. That's the only way to do it. Now, the phrase that our team made famous, right, Team 1%, is change your face, change your finances. It's the most genius thing in the world because the secret to this business is in this phrase. In fact, right, a lot of secrets to success is hidden in cliches, right? That's one of the things my mentor taught me, right? So change your face, change your finances, two parts, right? Changing your face is all about your product story. Changing your finances is all about your business story. So when you say change your face, change your finances, it highlights the products and it highlights our rewards and revenue program, right? So changing your face, it's all about your RIman product story, right? It's all about documenting your skincare journey. It's all about sharing your RIman experience, right? Talking about the tiger grass, talking about our heritage ingredients from the giant Byung pool, right? From the Jeju lava energy water, falling in love with that story, right? Changing your finance is all about your RIman success story, right? It's about the rewards and revenue program, the lifestyle changes, the financial empowerment, the revenue share program, the RIman retreat. Let me share with you something, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't understand how powerful the RIman retreat was until I went. Because, up until 10 months ago, right? Up until like last week before we went on this trip, we've been promoting it, right? We've been looking forward to it. We're like, hell yeah, we're excited. But all we had was pictures because we were never there. But let me tell you something. The pictures do not do it justice. We can do our best to try to explain to you what it was like, but it's like trying to describe color to a blind person. You can't. You have to experience it, right? And it really goes to show where the focus of the company is, the quality, and how much they believe in taking care of their people. You see, I just shared a story, right? Become great at sharing stories. Why? Because stories sell, facts tell. So many of you just worry about facts and figures. Those are important, right? That's logical, right? But stories are emotional, right? And we are emotional creatures. When you paint a story, when you paint a picture, guess what? Your people imagine themselves there as if they're living it. How many times have we read a book, right? A fictional book, but it could be, Harry Potter going through the Chamber of Secrets, but as we're reading it, it's like we are Harry Potter going through the Chamber of Secrets. We are on that chessboard, right? I'm a nerd, right? So that's why stories are so important. Let me tell you something, right? People care more about the height of your enthusiasm than the depth of your knowledge. And usually our enthusiasm is shown in the stories that we tell. Okay. So let's break it down. Each one. Okay. Changing your face. Okay. You want to intentionally invest in your face. The first step of that, the most important part, is you want to unlearn the all-in-one skincare myth. That's something that the Western society has created. It's a buzzword. A lot of people spend money on it, and they look for that all-in-one solution that does everything. Let me tell you something. There's not one product that's so good that does everything. One thing that Korean skincare is known for is having a multi-product step program because they understand the value of it, right? The importance of having really great cleansing product, right? First phase, then the cleansing product, and then a protection product, right? That's the Korean philosophy. That's why it works. Okay. So unlearn all that. And most people think they have one product that does everything, but really they also have another product for their eyes, they have another product for their neck, right? And so again, unlearn the all-in-one skincare myth, right? Number two, understand the proven method. Like I said earlier, cleanse, nourish, protect, right? I like to say hydrate, right? Hydrate, nourish, same thing, right? Once you understand it, you can appreciate it. When you can appreciate it, you can share it, okay? And really take the time to master the RIman ritual, try the different products, fall in love with it, see what works for you, because what you love, what you believe in is what's going to be easy for you to go out there and share, okay? The next step is changing your face, right? Changing your face is going to be the catalyst that sparks a conversation about the RIman experience. One of the most interesting things I've noticed about RIman, and many of you have already experienced it, is the conversion rate of customers that actually end up becoming planners. What do I mean by that? A lot of people on my team, some of them start as customers, but I have a high conversion rate of them becoming planners. Because originally, right, people think, oh, I can't sell, I can't market, but I love the products, I'll become a customer. And what happens? They use the products. And as they go on in their day-to-day life, what happens is their friends and family notice. They go, hey, your skin looks so hydrated, your skin looks so good. What are you using? And they go, oh, my friend, introduced me to these RIman products. They're Korean skincare, and I've been using it, and it works so well. And then their friends go, hey, can you hook me up? Can you introduce me to your friend? I'm curious. I want to learn more about those products. And then what tends to happen is that customer comes back to their friend and says, hey, I just talked to my friend. She noticed my results and she wants to be a customer. Can you talk to her and can she buy through to you? And this is where I train my team. I go, when someone says that, you tell them no. And what happens is that customer gets so thrown off. They're like, what do you mean they can't sign up with you? You're not going to present to them. And then they go, well, I'll present to them. But hey, you're already a customer. For an extra $20, you can upgrade to a planner. And because you already got that customer, they're interested, I'll present to them, I'll demo the product. And if they buy it, guess what? You get paid. But don't worry, I get paid too. And it's one of the craziest things. That's why we're saying your RIman experience, right? Changing your face using the products, it's gonna be the greatest catalyst in building your business because you're gonna have people naturally come up and ask you about the products, right? They're gonna ask you, what have you been using? And that's such a great segue. Okay. Not just that, but when you use the products, you're going to experience a newfound self-confidence and people are attracted to confidence, right? Same thing in the business. When you know where you're going, people will be scared not to follow you, okay? Same thing with the products. When you believe in the products, it's going to be hard for people to say no. And this is where my confidence is. Anytime I loan products to people or I give sample products to people, here's my rule of thumb. It's like dating, right? you know, if they don't text me first or call me in the first 48 hours, I know they haven't touched their products. And you know what I do? If it's been 48 hours, I haven't heard anything, I just send them a simple text. I'm like, hey, it's been 2 days and you haven't mentioned anything about the products. You haven't used it yet, huh? Because if you did, you would have hit me up first. What does that do? Number one, it creates urgency. Number two, it creates value in the product. And number three, guess what? It sells them on the product. Then they use the product, and guess what happens? They go, oh my God, my skin feels so good. It's so soft. I love it, right? So again, it's so huge, right? So you want to give an irreversible conviction through the RIman experience because again, it's all about your convictions, all about your confidence. Because people can buy into the product, people can buy into the company, right? People can buy into the rewards program, but if they don't buy into you, they're not going to join, okay? And last but not least, document it. Pictures are so important, right? What you do duplicates, and you want to create duplication with intention. So get good at doing before and after pictures. When you do your K pop-ups, make sure everybody that goes in there, you get a before picture, right? And when after you use the products, make sure you get an after picture. Why is that so important? Because when you show them back to back, they see a noticeable result. Okay. And not only that, but if you give their permission, even if they don't become a customer, you now have more, tools in your arsenal, more examples to show other people. Okay. Now, changing your finances. This is where, it's magical, right? This is why we do the business so we can make that money. And again, so many people don't want to talk about money, but money is important, right? Money is important. It's huge, right? It gives us freedom. It gives us options. Okay. So changing your finances intentionally become a manager. So here's my invitation to you. If you're on this call, you're not yet a manager, right? Contact your upline leadership support, your upline senior manager, team leader, director, senior director, national director, right? Go in that hierarchy and set up a game plan. Let them know I'm serious. I want to become a manager as soon as possible. Because why? Because you want to create your first promotion story. And here's how powerful it is, right? Creating stories. Hey, I got off this call and I got committed and I was excited and I became a manager. Why is that powerful? Why is that story powerful? Because now you can go back to your team and share them the importance of jumping on training calls. Because training calls get you excited. They get you recommitted to recharge your battery, right? And not only that, but you have a new story. Like, hey, when I first got started, I wasn't as focused, I wasn't as serious, but when I got on this training, something awoke in me. It's almost like someone flipped the switch, a light came on, and I said to myself, this is it. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to stop wasting time. And you became a manager in X amount of time. Now that becomes a template for somebody else. Once you become a manager, guess what your next step is? Become a senior manager. And you know how the best way to become a senior manager? Help somebody become a manager, right? Because if you help two people become manager, you're automatically senior manager. Or if you're already manager, you help one person become manager, senior manager, okay? Now, team leader, as you know, is 10 managers, 3 senior managers. Okay, 10 managers, 3 senior managers. If you focus on creating 10 managers, it's going to happen automatically. Now, let me show you the power of numbers, okay? Why managers is the secret. Once I share this with you, you're going to get it, okay? To become a director, it's only 30 managers. Essentially, it's 10 managers. Because think about it. What's a team leader? It's 10 managers, 3 senior managers, right? So how do you become a director? It's 30 managers, right? 10 managers in three separate legs. Why? Because you have 10 managers in three separate legs, someone's going to become a team leader. Now, for all my analytical people, you might say, well, Julian, a manager's 3,000 volume, right? 3,000 times three, right? Well, 3,000 times 30, right? It's only 30,000 volume, right? So if it's 30 managers, you do the math, right? Like the numbers don't add up, right? Let me do the math real quick, just so I can be exact. Because I know some people are like, I want the exact numbers. I'm not good at math. They say Asians are good at math, and that's not necessarily true, okay? Because obviously I'm not, right? Let's do the math, okay? The average manager is 3,000. You multiply that by 30. That's 90,000 volume, okay? Now you might say to yourself, well, Julian, that's only 90,000 volume, right? If you want to become, a team leader, right? If you want to become a director, right? Isn't that 500,000 volume in X amount of time in 5 months? I'm like, yeah, but that's only 90,000 volume for 30 managers. Well, that's you expecting everything to magically happen. Let me tell you something. You're not going to sign up 30 people in your team and all 30 are going to become manager right away. Because what's going to happen? There's going to be people in between that get started. There might be customers. That's a couple volume there. There might be people running for manager. Maybe they fall short. They're not quite there yet. That's another 1,000 volume, 2,000 volume. There's going to be people that hit manager but are running for senior manager. Maybe they have 4,000, 5,000, right? But what happens is this: when you focus on creating managers, right, you have all the leadership requirements there. Talk to any major leader in this business that's already team leader and director or senior director. They'll tell you this. Right? There's so many times we see people running for position, they hit the volume requirement, but they don't have the leadership requirement and have to go back to develop those leaders. Let me share with you something. It's way easier to develop the leaders and go back for the volume. Again, 30 managers, because guess what? 10 managers is going to create you as a team leader. Why? Because not every 10 person you bring in is going to be a manager. All the volume in between is going to add up, but you're going to hit the leadership requirement. So again, it's easier. Again, if I'm focusing on getting you to team leader director, if you haven't done it, it's going to seem far out of stretch. But talking to a brand new person to hit the first rank, that's easy. It can happen. And if you're already a manager, I say, hey, let's work together to get your brand new person a manager. That's a lot easier for people to comprehend and get behind than telling you, hey, now that you're senior manager, let's get you to team leader. In their mind, they're like, it looks so far away, right? But if you go up to your senior manager, hey, let's get all your new people to manage. Let's focus on that. So much easier to get behind. And you do that enough times, the volume adds up, right? Because again, on average, right, 3 senior managers, right, and 7+ managers and above, right, total 10 is a team leader. So if a director is 3 team leaders, that's 10 and 3 separate legs, right? Senior director is 2 directors. What? That's 60 managers and 2 separate legs. National director is 4 directors. That's, guess what? 30 managers and 4 separate legs. If you focus on getting people to the first position, I promise you the volume will add up automatically and you'll hit those ranks, you'll hit the requirement. And it's so much easier to focus on new people going manager than helping other people hit the higher ranks. Because when you only focus on hitting your rank, guess what? All you're gonna get is your rank. When you focus on the production and leadership development, guess what? You're gonna hit that position, but you're also gonna have leaders behind you to push, right? The whole idea of leadership is your team makes a big push to push you up there. Once you're up there, you reach down and pull them up. So again, managers is the name of the game. Managers is the name of the game. So if you're not a manager yet, set a game plan, become a manager as fast as possible. Okay. If you're already a manager, who on your team is not yet a manager? Let's get them there so you become senior manager. Now that you're a senior manager, your team is starting to grow. You start identifying your leaders, work with them to do the same thing, and focus on creating 10+ managers. When you do that, you're naturally going to become a team leader. Okay. Once you become team leader, cool. Guess what? Identify those 3 leaders and teach them how to develop 10 managers under them. Now, guess what? You're a director, right? Super simple. And then once you hit director, right, you have team leaders that now have the rank, the volume. Guess what you do? You focus on them creating 30 managers, and then they become a director. You do that twice, you're now a senior director. You help 2 more people do that, you're a national director. But more important than being a national director, more importantly than having, 4 directors under you, you have an army of 120 managers all going out there building, grinding, excited. And that's truly the secret of the business, to keep it super simple, right? And here's what's crazy, right? Here's what's exciting. You build this right, you're going to be able to surpass your full-time income with part-time RIman income. That's what I did. Outside of this, Up until recently, I was coaching in studios, right? Selling out studios, teaching box inspired fitness classes for a brand called Rumble. I still film on demand classes, but that's what I was doing. And I was doing RIman part time. And what ended up happening was I was making more doing RIman than I was doing fitness. And people are like, why are you still here? I was like, because I love it. And here's what's powerful. Imagine being able to do what you do because you love it and not have to worry about money and everything's just a bonus. Okay. So again, do the momentum building activities and your sales and business points will follow like a shadow. Okay. Again, don't focus on you. It's not about you. It's about your people. One of the biggest things that Danny Bay taught me in this Jeju Island retreat, he had a leadership training. He says, there's three orders of priorities that I focus on. Number one is the vision. Always lead with vision. I talked about that earlier. What's your vision for your team, your organization, your business, your life? Everything you do needs to support that, right? Number two, the second focus is your team. What's important to your team? What matters to your team? Last but not least is you. And how that conversation came up was because Danny said, Julian, I asked Danny, I was like, Danny, how are you not tired? Right? You travel to all these different time zones, all internationally, all these different countries, but yet you still do these Zooms. Like it's 9 a.m. here, for our team leadership call on Mondays, but it's 1 a.m. Tuesday in Korea, and you're doing it from Korea. Like, how are you not tired from meetings all day? He goes, Julian, the secret is I'm always tired. But whenever I have to do something, I focus on the vision first. My vision is to help RIman become a multi-billion-dollar company. And when I focus about that, I get excited and I find the energy. And number two, I focus on the team. I'm like, man, it's important for my team for me to do these calls so they can grow to build the vision. And when I focus on that, I'm no longer tired. I'm able to find the energy to make it happen because my why is stronger than the obstacles. My why is stronger than the how, right? And so that was one of the biggest takeaways that I had. And I just wanted to share that with you. Vision, right? First team and then you. So wrapping it all up, right, on today's call, right? If the product can talk, your money will walk, okay? So let's recap everything we talked about on week 1 of building your business by design. Number 1, change your face. Use the products. Talk about the products. Demo the products, right? Number 2, lead with the product and share an irreversible experience. That's why the before and after pictures are so important. Your before and after pictures are so important. Your stories are so important. And next, last but not least, change your finances, right? Understand the gig economy and messaging. People are now more open-minded than ever before, right? What's really great about rewards program is very similar to how people get paid as influencers and ambassadors for major brands, right? Here it's just scalable and they can make way more, right? Next, go manager and create your story, right? Create your manager, your senior manager, your team leader and director story, because that's going to become a blueprint for everybody else. Okay. And if you're brand new, right, one of the missions I invite you to get behind is beat your box challenge, right? And this is going to require you to have extra product, right? But when you get someone started, like imagine having this mindset. When someone gets started, right, they order product, guess what? It takes 5 to 7 days for their product to come, depending on when they order it during the week. But imagine you have extra product. Someone buys, let's say, a starter kit premium, but you have enough product. Someone orders a starter kit premium. Instead of waiting 7 days for them to start building the business, you say, hey, you ordered a starter kit premium. I have a starter kit premium or whatever product you have. You front them the products. Why? So they can begin creating their product testimonial. So they can start using, talking, and demoing the products, right? They can take their before and after pictures, right? And guess what? Imagine having them already going out there, getting customers, signing up planners before their package even comes. And when their package comes, guess what? They give you back the products that you fronted, right? Not those products, right? Because it's used, but they take the brand new products from their box to give it back to you. So you're loaning it them up front. And now you're helping people get success a lot faster. And last but not least, right? What is your story coming out of convention? For those of you that came from the last convention, your story has already started. It's already being written. The good news is the ending hasn't happened yet. So create a powerful story going into Las Vegas so we can recognize you, so you can celebrate you. But more importantly, it becomes the blueprint for your team moving forward coming out of the next convention, and you reproduce the process, okay? So that being said, my name is Julian Doan. I super appreciate every single one of you for hopping on. It's 7:06. I went a little bit over, but I'm just so excited. And if you found a lot of value in this, I'm going to post a replay on my Facebook. If you haven't found me on Facebook yet, find me on Facebook. Add me on Instagram. I'll post a replay. I'll also post it up on YouTube. And super excited for every single one of you to create the life that you deserve and create the life that you're excited about. Next week, we're going to talk about passion, defining difference, and why it's your attitude, not your aptitude, determines your altitude. So I look forward to having every single one of you on there. With that being said, have a great Sunday, y'all, and keep in contact. Share with me your success stories, because guess what? It inspires me. And let me tell you something, there's no difference between you and the top leaders in the company. The only difference is they're a little bit further ahead of the journey. And if they can do it, you can do it. So I'm super excited for y'all. Until next time, let's get it. Let's get it.